Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's so ugly.
You know, when I was a kid, I would have loved to have lived in a place like this.
What's in there?
That's the cellar.
It's filthy.
I like to think of it as character.
Mom, Dad, get me out!
Hang on, Ellie.
Dad, come on! Mom, get me out!
I'm done here.
I need you to watch Stephen tonight.
So you're leaving us here on our first night.
Go down and check the circuit breaker.
No, I'm scared.
There's 10 steps to the bottom. Count each step. Can you do that?
1, 2,
You're doing great, Ellie. Keep counting.
3.
Elisha Cuthbert, thank you for your time. And where do we begin to even start describing The Cellar? Thank you for scaring me in my pants in the cinema the other night. I love a good fright film. Seems like you're kind of a scream queen now. But how do you describe The Cellar?
Oh, I would describe it as a very atmospheric sort of suspenseful horror, because I wouldn't say it's all sort of guts and gore like some horror films could be. It's got a level of sophistication to it, but it's really about a woman searching for her daughter at the core of it. But her husband and herself, my character Keira, acquire this really scary house, and of course there's some sort of evil happening inside the house, and their daughter goes missing, and from there it's really the journey to find her, in this sort of terrifying setting.
I mean, you've done a few horror films before, but this one being a mother yourself, did that attract you to doing this role?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually say that to everyone. So you said it for me. But yeah, I think yeah, you're very clever. Having two children now, I read the script and I felt I understand what it's like to be a parent and to have all those sort of parently fears. It's a very real thing, and it sort of was tugging at me in that way instinctually, going, oh, at this point in my career, I definitely feel authentic enough to play this character, and in wanting to go in that journey of mother and daughter, and mother sort of doing and going to the ends of the earth to save her children. So I loved that about it. Absolutely, that was a big draw for me.
And then filming in Ireland probably wasn't a bad thing, although it was in a pandemic, probably not the most joyous of experiences, a little bit more of a difficulty in making a movie, I'm sure. But Ireland's not a bad place to make a movie, was it?
No, you know what? It was really amazing. I just felt really lucky that we were making a movie during COVID the way we were doing it. I mean, this was also at the point where there was no vaccines. We were at a
Wow.
very high point in the pandemic, and we had to obviously quarantine for 2 weeks, and we were testing every day, and we were really feeling the pressure, because at that point, if anyone had gotten COVID, we would have to shut down. So we were really feeling the pressure of that, and but then at the same time it kind of forced us all in this beautiful bubble together and made the film happen, and so we're all really proud that we got through it, and we did it without a hitch. So yeah, I can't believe I made a movie at the height of the pandemic. That was absolutely crazy.
So you didn't get the full Irish experience, perhaps, being there in the pandemic.
Didn't even get to go to a pub. I didn't even get to go, like, that's a crime probably in Ireland.
What?
I should Yeah, I didn't get to go to a pub. It was everything was shut down. Everything was completely shut down. You couldn't
So
even get a
did
pizza.
anyone sneak a bit of Jameson or Guinness onto set where you're able to decide whether you're a whiskey girl or a Guinness girl?
I think I'm more of a whiskey girl. I will say.
Oh,
Yeah, the Guinness was good though. The Guinness was good, but I'm not really a big beer drinker, so. And
oh, fair
it
enough.
was good actually. The thing is that it was actually probably a good thing, because we probably were less hungover and got a lot more done, you know.
You mean it was a good idea not to drink and make a movie? Yeah, that's probably a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah, it
And
was
was it honestly a scary house? Because it comes across as a great location in Roscommon.
oh yeah.
How much of that is the real house? How much is a movie set?
Well, A lot of it was the real house. It was actually incredible because we were, for production reasons, we were having to shoot in Roscommon, so we had to find a house within that. But here was this gem of a location, and so yeah, the house really felt like it had a lot of history to it. So there was, anything that's been around for hundreds of years kind of feels like it's got stories to tell. But I really enjoyed it. I wasn't afraid staying there. I thought it was really great. The cellar itself, when you watch the film, was a set, but everything in the hallways and in the home were real. And so that made it feel sort of like it became its own character. And yeah, so it was a really fun experience. It felt very real. That's another thing about the film. There's not a whole lot of CGI. It's very atmospheric
Yes.
moody and really beautifully shot, I think. So it was a fun time to do that. But there was one instance, actually, I should tell you, before we started filming, we were staying in cottages on the property where the house was. And the day before we started filming, after we'd gotten out of quarantine, all of our cottages had a massive infestation of dead flies, thousands of dead flies. So it was
Oh,
really, really creepy in that way. So I don't know. Maybe there was a little something
are
haunted
you
there.
saying you're a believer, Elisha? Do you believe in things that go bump in the night?
I might have to be. I mean, that was a little bizarre and unexplainable. So yeah.
You do work in this genre. This is not the first horror film you've made. Of course, House of Wax. You made that down under where I am right now. Is that where you became friends with Paris Hilton?
Yes, yes, that's where the friendship began. That's where it all started, and that was such a wild experience. We had a great time filming it, and that was a real, I mean, one of those big horror Hollywood horror films, huge budget. We built a massive town of wax out in Brisbane, and ended up burning it down, unfortunately. But yeah, it was like it was crazy. And we did do a little bit in Melbourne, and stayed in the Gold Coast, and
And
gosh,
what
it
did
was.
you learn about Aussie way of life? Did you develop an addiction to Tim Tams or Vegemite or anything like that?
No, I can't say I did, but I really did enjoy myself, and I had a really great time. And I know that a couple actors ended up staying longer because they didn't want to leave. I think we lost one of our actors to, you know, the beach life. You know what I mean? I don't think he came back to Hollywood for 3 more years after that. So he really got sucked in. So yeah, you know
And,
what? It was a beautiful place to film. I will say that.
and is it true that you've got another Australian connection in your new piece of work, Bandit? Mel Gibson. Did you work with Mel Gibson on Bandit?
Yes, I did. I did. I got to unfortunately I didn't have any scenes with him, but I did get to meet him on set, and sort of chat with him for a little bit, and he's great in our movie, so I'm excited for everyone to see it. It's a bank heist film, so it's a lot of fun. But yes, I did work with Mel Gibson.
You must be having a lot of fun with, your career at this point in time. A long way from The Girl Next Door and 24 and all that sort of stuff. But is there one that people still stop you on the street about, Alicia? That you can't just? Are you always that the girl from Love Actually and stuff like that? Is that it must be a nice feeling when fans stop you on the street and things like that. But what's the one that they always call out?
Yeah, that's interesting because it's not one particular thing, I don't think. It just depends on how old they are and what they what they've seen. I think you do it long enough and two decades of work, people are going to be touched by certain things. So, but it's funny, House of Wax, I feel like is coming back, and I find myself getting a lot of comments on social media about how it's become now sort of a resurgence thing, and like it's got a new little life. And I love when things sort of come around like that. And the girl next door obviously is one that I get a lot of love for, and of course 24 is one of the best shows of all time. So it's like it always makes the list of those amazing iconic TV shows. So I'm really proud to be a part of that. And yeah, and Love Actually is always a holiday favorite. So I got a lot of text messages and a lot of emails from friends saying that they've watched it every holiday season. So I get very, very popular during that time. Yeah, so not just one thing. It's always like,
A
the gam
cycle.
there's a cycle. Yeah.
Well, Alicia, thank you for scaring me with The Cellar. I don't think I want to go to Roscommon now. It's one of the places in Ireland I haven't been yet, but that house does scare me just a little. But it's a great film. Congratulations on the world premiere, and I'm looking forward to seeing how audiences react all over the world. I'm sure you are too. Lovely to meet you.
Yes. Lovely to meet you. Thank you.
Something happened in the cellar. What about this?
It's definitely a representation for a dimension.
There's symbols above all the doors. An ancient evil.
Delta, point vector, epsilon.
There's something in there. It looks like Ellie.
It's here.